Our story begins at Gaimea Bay in Sydney, Australia, and takes us to Waimea Bay, Oahu, Hawaii. This is our friendly interviewer, the Jungle Man, who swam his first mile in Gaimea Bay, aged 12. 20 years later, he dropped into one of the biggest waves of his life at Waimea Bay. Jungle seen here on the far left, dropping out of space onto 5 Americans. Some of the students at Gaimea High were great skaters, surfers and sportsmen. Using a telescope from the school grounds, the students could view the reefs of Voodoo in Sydney. Jungle hitchhiked around Australia with 2 surfboards, then to Bali and Mexico. 300 different surfboards later, from single fins, twins and thrusters, he made it to Hawaii. He also wrote some stories on the way. Jungle, an ex-Aussie postman, still talks to himself. His favourite song, You Can Leave Your Hat On, by Joe Cocker. Gaimea means place of giant lilies. The early surfers were known as skegs and rode boards called toothpicks. These surfers were attracted to the original General Motors Holden sedans, wagons and panel vans. Surfing became so popular, a school called Skegs was established in Sydney. John and Roger Lennon from Gaimea High.
Well, this is the original belly board. I used to make these for $4 and sell them for $8. This is the last one I made and the best. I got the shape refined down. Originally they were rounder, but I put the parallel sides on it and got the fins just right and all the rest of it.
John and Roger, like many Sydney surfers, travelled just south of Sydney to the Royal National Park, where the beaches of Burning Palms, Eura and Gary are located. These beaches are popular camping spots for keen surfers, hikers and fishermen. Wildlife, such as wallabies, kangaroos and the introduced Indonesian rusa deer, graze in the rainforest valleys below. Hey Skip, any surf today?
No, Dad, it's too crowded. Rudolph and the deers have taken over.
Now, let's hop along, son. Gary was named after an early bushranger, Geary, who camped in the area. Gary Beach, within the Royal National Park, is only 90 minutes from the centre of Sydney. The rock fishing and the beach breaks are good quality due to the reefs that exist under the sand beaches. On swells bigger than 2 metres, rock fishing becomes dangerous and the waves unsurfable. To ask some of the real Shire locals like John Lavers, shown here, he'll tell you about the reefs off Cronulla.
It's as good as any wave I've ever surfed anywhere. And the only trouble is at Cronulla, it's crowded, but when it gets bigger, it sorts a few out. Same with the island. The island's mean, meaty, it's a heavier wave as anywhere else I've ever surfed.
Nick Mann, the little drummer boy, who discovered reefs unridden at Yang Yangs in Bali and Nay Han in Thailand.
Mate, this is an 8 foot. You'll have a lot of fun on that. That's a fun gun or a mini gun.
And how wide is it?
That's about 22 inches wide, 3 inches thick, 8 foot one long. That'd be so easy to ride.
Graham King, raised in the Shire, blows some of the best surfboard foam in Sydney.
Yeah, it's like surfing. The first thing you have to do is dust off the blank. And I guess it's like going out to ride big waves. It's a lot more than just being physically prepared. You have to be mentally prepared as well.
Richard Herbert, a strong believer in rovings around the thruster fins, shown working here in the Force 9 factory. Herb also worked 5 years at Good Time in Queensland and 3 years at Emerald in Sydney. He also successfully competed in the Queensland titles at Cylinder Beach, Stradbroke Island, against pros like Rabbit and PT. He mastered the tube at Kira and Big Cronulla Point, proving that every dog has his day. Peter Glasson, master surfer and shaper.
This is Richard Herbert and Sean Stanley Smith with his new surfboard.
Hi, I shaped this board. It's 8'2" long, 19 wide and 3 inches thick. The spray, well, the spray is a bit of an interpretation of an Australian weather map, and it looks to me like there's a little cyclone over here in Queensland. This is the sort of board you could ride in really big Bells Beach, or maybe Cronulla Point on a big day, or maybe even inside Sunset.
Sean Smith, a master tube rider and goofyfoot, was the first Cronulla Point board riders champion in 1985. Then followed others like Richard James, Pete Pogg and Scotty Newland. Going out to Botany Bay National Park is the reef they call Voodoo in Bait Bay. Big sharks feed at the back of the reef and the rock fishing is good. Surfers that excelled at Big Voodoo were Jim Banks, Dean Hughes, his brother Gary Hughes and Chris Iredale. Chris Iredale, the lifeguard, will stand tall in Cronulla's history. History was recorded in the year 2000 when the Olympic torch came to Sydney. In Botany Bay we have Bear Island, where a good bombora breaks in huge winter swells. In the sports bar at Cronulla RSL, the Ode to Fallen Comrades is said every night.
Thank you, members and guests. The time is 6 o'clock. Would you please stand and observe the ode in memory of fallen comrades? They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget. Thank you, members and guests.
Thanks to Billabong and Jack McCoy, we were invited to the premiere of the documentary at Film Australia in Sydney. Jack McCoy and Dick Hoole in the early 70s pioneered surf filmmaking. Jack, working on a pilot for a future feature film, Cocky Loca, Return of the Cockroach Surfer. A painting of Occy is in the Cronulla Tunnel Gallery. Mark won contests in perfect waves in Tahiti, Fiji and Mundaka to win the world title in 1999-2000. He also excelled at big pipe on Hawaii's North Shore, winning the Pipe Masters in 1985 against the likes of Tom Carroll, Joey Burren, Max Medeiros, Alan Byrne and Wayne Bartholomew. Occy also won the Cronulla Bow Repairs, where 30,000 people packed to Lura Beach to watch the first ever night surfing. We asked Occy about surfing huge outer reef Banzai pipeline.
Every time you piss in your wetsuit, a good set comes.
And they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like these two blokes out here now, we've just been out here. Two people alone in Sydney. A nice little right-hand point break called Windy Point. One we pointed out to you from the other end of the pool. No sets at the moment. And the tide's coming in. And the swell's coming up a little bit. And it's just a beautiful situation. You've got Gibbon Point out behind me. This is the south end of the bay. If we look around this way, we've got Sandshoes round behind me. Another small break which we'll look at. We've got this Windy Point here, which is a little bit small because the swell needs to be a bit bigger, but there's a few guys out here. Going around the bay, we've got Cronulla Point. Many Australian coastal towns have Indigenous names, such as Curranulla, which means place of pink shells, Coolangatta, Cowarramup, Yallingup and Watanabe. There's even a town known as Bungadonabit. It's true that the local Aboriginal Koori clan were known as the Darwul. There is no truth in the rumours that this Dreamtime artwork was etched by a couple of artists on walkabout known as Cool and Gatta. Peter Bizet, a refinery worker, like the late Peter Crawford in his heyday, was an excellent kneeboarder. Greg Piper on the inside, and Jason Rash Ryder sharing a wave at Cronulla Point. The Kurnell oil refinery shutdowns supported many a surfer's getaway trip. Sydney in the summer on Australia Day is a far cry from the winter time. The winter's cold, blue skies, offshore and cooking. The locals call it spanner water. The winter westerly winds blow from the Blue Mountains, 3 hours drive west of Sydney. Kelly Slater from Florida came to Narrabeen and won the Pro Junior in 1992. Following in Tom Curran's big wave footsteps, almost 10 years later to the day, Kelly Slater won the Quicksilver in Big Perfect Waimea. Tony Ray, who came second in the Quicksilver, graciously handing back the $50,000 winner's cheque due to a contest mathematical error. Narrabeen's Simon Anderson and Cole Smith both experimented with 3-fin surfboards. Simon coming up with the winning formula. CJ Hobgood, a proven champion at Narrabeen and Sydney, where a good caravan park exists a stone's throw away from the beach. The indigenous meaning of Warringah is sign of rain. Down on the beach at the Pro Junior, we had the late Andrew Murphy with one of the first ever digital video cameras and a Miller tripod. Andrew, with a white hat on, was a great designer and worked for Quicksilver. The winter trade wind that blows offshore from the North Pole in the Hawaiian or Sandwich Islands blows onshore on the east coast of Australia. For many Aussies, the nor'easter is a summer bummer. Other greats of Narrabeen include Nat Young, Mark Warren, Tom Carroll, and his brother Nick, a seasoned Sunset veteran. a young Andy Irons at Narrabeen Car Park Rights. Eddie Icow was lost at sea in a solo rescue attempt. The large outrigger in which they were sailing, called the Hokulea, was heading south from Hawaii to Tahiti in a reenactment of the first inter-island voyages. When a wild storm brewed, Eddie, in an heroic effort to save his friends, decided to paddle his surfboard for help in the middle of the night. He was never seen again. Clyde, his brother, still excels at Big Waimea. Dan Merkel, who took the photo from the water, was known as the Mountain Man. Damon Harvey. We head north from Narrabeen to visit Bill Cillier, the Golden Gloves boxer and original owner of Nirvana surfboards.
Singer! God.
Wasn't he the Australian surfing champion?
Oh, Sanger was Australian schoolboy champion, Australian Open champion, oh, you name it, Pro Junior champion. God, it'd take us all day to name all the Connor's he won. What Sanger did was present it to the world stage in competition. You know, down at the, that's the manoeuvre that won in the Pro Junior. He beat Damien Hardman in the finals in the Pro Junior in 85, I think it was, something like that.
Team riders have included Shane Powell, Mark Sainsbury, Ross Clark-Jones, the rugby league coach John Money, Gunty Yassa and Dave Viesta, Billy Boy Cillier. Back at Narrabeen Surf Club, Gary Elkerton, Barton Lynch and Richard Marsh were supporting the Pro Junior. There's no denying that Gary Elkerton and Alan Byrne ripped on Burning Spear's channel bottom thrusters. A young Jamie O'Brien from Hawaii, carving onshore Narrabeen.
While Marcus Hale, going on 60, negotiates Dee Why Point in Sydney, we dedicate this section to the late Peter Crawford, who took the following photos approximately 30 years ago of Michael Peterson and Simon Anderson at Dee Why Point. The late Peter Crawford loved Dee Why.
Just down the coast at Manly, the Coke contest was in full swing with Mick Lowe and Shane Beshan ripping. Tita Tavares from Brazil learnt to surf on an ironing board and is shown here reading the Manly beach waves to perfection. Tita in Tahiti. Trudy Todd from the Gold Coast showing great style. It was the heat of the TTs. Sonny Garcia made Sydney headlines with the words, "Sunny side up." The Queenscliff Bombie was breaking, and locals like Richie Lovett, Rob Bain and Barton Lynch were waxing their sticks. Coke is still the world's most popular drink and used to sell for 5 cents a bottle.
We see surfer in white, Damien Hardman on his backhand, up and riding off the bottom, good sized wave, snaps one off the top into another maneuver there, 2 snaps for Damien Hardman and a big third one to finish off that wave. So that's white, Damien Hardman, big round of applause for him on his third scoring ride, no doubt. 3 really nice big arcing turns from the man in white, Damien Hardman.
Duma, the pipe master. With John Shamuka on microphone, Luke Egan and Taj Burrow flowing, the last Coke contest in Sydney was a huge success. Taj Burrow from the Cape Leeuwin Peninsula, West Oz, convincingly won the contest. Times have changed since Midget Farrelly, Mike Doyle and Joey Cabell competed on this very beach in 1964. The Sydney crowd on this day were treated to some excellent hot dog surfing. Manly was named due to the physiques of the early warriors. John Husenstam, a master musician from California, came to West Oz and surfed this huge point break just he and his brothers. Johnny Husenstam, like Ross Williams and Shane Dorian, surfed perfect reefs around Margaret River. This is John playing sitar. Footage thanks to McCoy and Billabong from Sick Joy. Manly that night was going off. When cyclone swells get chaotic in Sydney, people surf places like Port Hacking River, Box Head and Kurnell Point. Bass and Flinders first sailed down the Hacking in an 8-foot dinghy, the Tom Thumb. 200 years later, Murray Sulis from Port Hacking High in Sydney, with good mate Twinkle Toes on backyard surfboards, shared a freak tidal wave and rode it for half a mile down this same Hacking River. In Botany Bay, Sydney, named Stingray Bay by Captain Cook, is Kurnell Point. Kurnell was named after an early English colonel off the First Fleet. His name wasn't Sanders. The other meaning for Kernell is wild carrot. Toby Foster from Geraldton, West Australia, surfed Perfect Sunset at the age of 18 as an exchange student. The board he rode was a Pat Rawson shaped for beaver. He was here for the Festival of the Winds at Bondi. Mike Yardley from London, England, lived in his combi behind the Bondi Pavilion for 1 year. He tried the local wacky backy and reckoned he saw some fairies at Tamarama. The surfing and fishing are excellent for a city beach in the heart of Sydney. Tamarama in Sydney was renamed Glamorama. Bronte, on the other side of Tamarama, is a reef for the experienced surfer. Bondi is very multicultural, with beautiful people from all over the world. The mural at North Bondi says it all. Brad Mays and the Corrigan brothers were standout local boy riders. The Billabong Junior Series came to Bondi. Mick Fanning carved the left in the middle of the beach and then the southern shore break. Dylan Longbottom was insane, while Joel Parkinson read the tricky rights to perfection.
Now this is Harry Nightingale. Harry, how long have you been lifeguarding at Sunset Beach?
Forever.
There's 3 waves. How long?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. And how many lives would you have saved in the last 2 years?
500.
500.
That's a conservative estimate.
And you once told me that I think you had a Dick Brewer surfboard or an Al Chapman surfboard?
Yeah, an Al Chapman shaped Dick Brewer, I think. Yeah, I got it in Hawaii when I did my one and only trip in 1986.
And you said you surfed Sunset pretty good?
One time, yeah, really good. But we went mainly out to Kauai to get away from the crowd.
All right, look, thanks a lot, Harry.
Okay, mate.
Thank you.
See ya.
Love you, mate.
Bondi Beach Volleyball Stadium, built for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, was a big hit. The game of people watching in Bondi, called Spot the Aussie, has also become very popular.
You can see that the southeast wind, which has turned onshore, is pushing that sailing boat just round the point of Bondi. Or should I say North Bondi?
Robert Keneally, originally from Bondi, developed the tribal law of surfing. Keneally's reef at Sussex was named after him. Here he is at Angry Point. The old Bondi Icebergs pool, where winter people train in freezing conditions. Maroubra means place of thunder. Coogee means stinking seaweed, and Boondi, now Bondi, means water over rock.
And what would you say the waves are like in Ballina?
Ballina's good, yeah. And Lennox Head is pretty, it has all this rubbish in the sea and that, yeah. But Lennox Head's still good, yeah.
Sam Russell, who became an uncle at just 10 years old, told us if we travelled to Hawaii, he could organise some cool accommodation. Thanks, Uncle Sam. We journeyed down the coast with Luke Kennedy, a Bondi local. We checked a place called Headies, then Sand on Point.
Luke, you've got a bit of a story to tell us. What happened when you came down here last time? We're down here on the south coast of New South Wales.
Yeah, about a week ago, a fairly solid swell hit the east coast. My home beach, Bondi, was closing out, so I thought, well, like every surfer's instinct is to head down the coast in that sort of a situation. I jumped on a train, I didn't have a car at the time, made my way down to tennis courts, where we are now, paddled out, first wave, maybe a little over-enthusiastic, a little excited, took the drop, lost it on my first wave, snapped my brand new Will Weather surfboard.
How much did the board cost you?
I paid $300 for it second hand.
Oh, second hand?
Well, it was second hand, but it was new second hand.
Now listen, we were in Bondi Beach this morning. Here, the swell's northeast. I think there's a cyclone up the coast. The whole coast is pumping. And how big would you say it is today?
Swell's somewhere between 4 and 6 feet.
Okay, look, it's actually quite beautiful down here, and we're going to take a check around.
The swell was on the rise, so we headed further down the Kembla coast to a place called Coorie's.
Oh, he's got tubes. All right, good stuff.
Kembla means plenty of wild fowl. Coorie's is a part of a local reef chain they call the Deadlies.
Nice wave, that one. Oh.
Back in Sydney, the swell was pounding the dangerous coastline. It was off these rocks in the early 70s that expert fishermen Gary Chapman and good mate Ron Nelson were night fishing in a small boat. The boat was found on this Maroubra beach and they were never seen again. Gary Chapman was an Olympic champion swimmer. Surfers from Maroubra included Larry Blair, the pipe master, Gordon Merchant, who started Billabong, Barry Andres, the builder, Russell Fairfax, and the Aberton brothers.
Surfed at Maroubra all my life, just about. I'm originally from South America, Argentina. Came out here when I was 10 years old or so, 9, 10, and surfed here ever since. So, great beach here. So some nice waves out here today. And that's pretty much it, nice and clean waves.
And the rock that you can see down there, which is on the south point of Clovelly, is called somewhat optimistically Dangar Island, where we have one lone surfer. I don't know if he's lonely, but he's certainly on his own, trying to pick up some 8 to 10 foot waves. But he's going to go for one anyway. And we're not quite, a little bit too sucky out there. It's a waiting game.
The tough old Saab and the Bali board covers are common in the Nielsen Park area of Sydney. It's a bit small today because the swell's from the north, coming through the heads and wrapping around. It needs to be more from the east, so it's a bit small. Where the guys are sitting out here at Nielsen Park today, you can see there's a pylon just beyond them. Well, when this is working, it breaks out nearer the pylon, so it's really a bit too small. So we'll probably be going back to the one of the outside beaches and finding some bigger waves. Sydney Harbour not only gets waves and cyclone swirls, the surrounding bays have patches of coastal rainforest. This is Cloud Waimea over Paddington, which caused a hailstorm and $600 million damage to the city of Sydney. They call it Melbourne weather. The Sydney Illawarra rail line, if you haven't got a vehicle, will take you to good tubes.
Across the desert, rode for 40 days, had a real dumb horseman, we went 40 different ways, might just die of hunger.
Bondi's Zach Futura learnt to surf on an old twin fin shaped by the former world surfing champion Mark Richards.
Well, I had a senorita, think of her a lot.
So Bondi skate ramp.
Breathing makes me hot, and I'm stuck out in the desert. How to shoot the goddamn horse.
Kevin Brennan and Shane Horan will go down as greats in Bondi's surf history.
Oh, here I go, and here I stay.
We left the eastern suburbs of Sydney and headed out to Tarrant Point, to Jackson Surfboards.
Fell on my guitar, I took pot shots at the horse, and then I seen the evening star. I'm just a drifter on this plane,
Jacko, a General Motors man, is a statesman for the surfing community and has helped many young surfers by manufacturing strong boards. Mickey Clark, who swears by his Jackos, like others, headed out to Margaret River at an early age. Sydney surfers like Alan Taylor and Roy McGuinness, inspired by Jacko, started making their own boards. Loaded up their old Holdens, headed 3,000 miles west to Margaret River via Cactus, a surf spot in the desert. At Cronulla Point, the Southside Longboard Contest in full swing, with Jack Eden, Dave Wilson and son Dane all surfing good. Dane works at Surf Dive and Ski when not competing on the Longboard Pro Tour.
Listen to me, son. All this chasing after women's bound to bring a man undone. I said I'd like to thank you, preacher. I'd like to wish you luck. But if you don't mind, I'll just keep right on looking for my horse. You haven't seen him, have you? Well, the moral of the story is accepting what you got. And don't go riding in the desert, man, because it gets over.
Thanks to John Veege, the Sharks board riders have their own photographer. The club has a history of talent, including Ockie, Richard Marsh, Gary Green and Troy Dennehy. Troy Dennehy's boards are shaped by Mark Rabbage, husband of the surfing goddess Pam Burridge. Troy Dennehy shown here at Cronulla's alley shreds from Voodoo to Cronulla Point. Cronulla's surfing history begins with the Duke, who came to Sydney with George Cunha in February 1915 and put on surfing displays to the amazed local crowds. Peter Townsend did a stint in Cronulla, formed the Bronze Aussies with Ian Cairns, Mark Warren and local legend Jim Banks. Jim had an appendix attack at Uluwatu and hit bottom at Big Pipe, receiving 150 stitches to the head. Michael Peterson shaped boards in Cronulla. But real locals like Doug Robson, Steve Finebeer, Dave Jarvis, Sean Smith, Christian Rissol, Tanya Olive, Wayne Tite, Barry Tite, Steve Hare, Chris Iredale, Andy Russell and Jerry Mannion will all tell you that big sharks lurk off the back of Shark Island. It's a moody, suicidal reef, and these surfers take a great deal of risk. Jerry Mannion, taking off, was a previous Formula V racing car driver. Like other Sydney surfers, he worked for Ansett and travelled the world surfing. Music by Tashito. These photos are thanks to Paul Morgan from Reuters Worldwide Photo Service. The top, James Sterling and Joel Parkinson. Bottom, Tony Ray at sunset and the swell that came with the Sydney hailstorm. Before we board for Hawaii and part 2 of Inside Sunset, we order some big wave guns. We also obtain a good map of the Hawaiian Islands. The early Hawaiian chiefs were the true kings of surfing. They came from Tahiti on large outrigger canoes navigating by the stars. They settled in places like Waimea Canyon, the Nepali coast, on Kauai, Waikiki, and the Manoa Valley, where the University of Hawaii now exists. Eventually, a civilization of 5,000 people lived around Waimea Bay, where big wave surfing is carried on to this day. Even though the islands were named by Captain Cook as the Sandwich Islands, the traditional island warriors ate luau style. Taro, sweet potato, poi, fish, wild bird and boar made up their diet. Sandwiches were not a part of their diet. We'd like to thank the United States INS for issuing our cameraman with the appropriate visa. We arrive at the North Shore on the island of Oahu, in the middle of the winter near the town of Haleiwa. With all the surfs in town, accommodation was tight. The swell was on the rise at 10 foot. Our game plan was to visit Flippy Hoffman, surfing legend, first thing the next morning. We thank Uncle Sam for the cool accommodation. Flippy's son, Marty Hoffman, also excelled in huge waves.
I personally think Sunset's much mellower than those breaks in Indonesia. I'm not a beach break guy, so for me it's much tougher. But this has got a big base, and I like big base waves. They're easy to deal with, and they're slower. I mean, you don't have to get up so much. They're not as quick. Well, you ought to go to California sometime. Play called San Onofre. There's some 80-year-old people and 70-year-old people and 60-year-old people. They're just about any reasonable day, winter and summer, and they all wear a bunch of wetsuits, go out there, and that's their workout. They surf every day. It's not raining or snowing or whatever it's doing.
Flippy, who has the typical Hawaiian homestead with no guttering or inside lining. Flippy told us there was a woman's bodyboard contest on at the pipeline, that the waves were bitching and some of the girls were getting pounded. We checked Sunset Beach, then cruised down to the pipe. Don and Josie Over lived on the beach at Banzai Pipeline. Like the late Phil Smith, a duty manager at Sydney's domestic airport, the Overs and Smiths encouraged their children from an early age to bodyboard. Adam Smith, Phil's son, excelled in all aspects of surfing. And Flippy wasn't lying. The waves were bitching, and some girls were getting pounded. Carol Phillips, who once bodyboarded huge Waimea, ran a great contest. Told us she lucked out with the Honolulu City Council.
Able to get an extension on our holding period and got some really nice waves, and they had a really good contest, yeah.
At this point, we'd like to acknowledge the two great Phyllises of surfing. Phyllis O'Donnell, the women's champion board rider from the Gold Coast, whose favourite wave was Greenmount Point near Kira.
You know, Santa.
Phyllis Demeron, who pioneered women's bodyboarding, once dropping into a 25-foot Waimea monster on the original Maury bodyboard. Good country music by the Robos was being played on the beach at Uhukai.
that spell. My eyes were open, but I could not see. But you sure put the light on me. Mother Mary and the Holy Ghost. At the biggest banquet, everybody raised their glasses for the toast. Drink to the health of your company, 'cause you sure put the light on me. I've been blown around your neighborhood so long, trying to work out where I'm going, where I might belong. Just like some fisherman forever lost at sea, 'cause you sure put the light on me. I've got no evidence with lies inside my head. Is only talk about the man I could have been. Unlike a weather report, they can't predict anything for long. Not as far as I can see. Let it rain all over me. I'm the last son alive on the street tonight. Feel the wind blow down my back. I hear the wheels come down the track, and that's the last train is leaving for the coast. And I'm like that dog who can't scratch his itch. My heart's been thrown around behind me like a thrown out of a ditch, and I feel good, good as I can be. Because you sure put the light on me. I got no evidence with lies inside my head. Is only talk about a man who could have been. Unlike a weather report, they can't predict anything for long. Not as far as I can see. Let it rain all over me. Just let it rain, calm down.
How'd you go out there?
I don't know, I got worked so many times.
But you sure put the light on me. Yeah, you sure put the light on me.
Wayne Lynch mastered surfing and the didgeridoo. Wayne came to Hawaii with a group of talented Indigenous surfers. Across from Mahukai lies the Sunset Beach Elementary School, where the true blue Aussie boys performed a corroboree for the students. Tragically, one of the brothers was later killed on this very Cam highway.
place from Hawaii, Robin Cardozo. And from Japan, perhaps winning the heat twice, Aoi Keoki.
Aoi Keoki.
The winner of the bodyboard contest, Aoi Keoki, won a parachute jump from Skydive Hawaii at 13,000 feet. We cruise back to Cammy's in view of sunset. The sunset master, Mike Ho, was showing the shoulder hoppers a thing or two or three. Sunset Beach is a hard reef to read. The inside bowl can tube and grind like Shark Island in Sydney. Peter Cole was one of the early pioneers of big wave surfing, with buddies like Greg Knoll, Buzzy Trent, Fred Hemmings, George Downing, Tiger Espear, Fred Van Dyke and Jose Angel. They broke new ground at Big Makaha, Sunset and Waimea. True locals like Cole and Dameron will tell you honestly what it's like out there.
Tough love. I hate this. It was very hard to catch on a boogie board because it's slopey, had a lot of west, and it was coming in like this and flopping over.
I just took a spastic wipeout. I fell off when I shouldn't have, and I fell off on the inside part of the wave and fell head first into the bottom of the wave and separated the ribs from the sternum, which tore the cartilage.
Thierry Dominic, the master glasser and French surfing champion. The next morning, the swell is 15 feet and dropping. By that afternoon, David Kavika Stant and Kalohi Bloomfield on his backside were carving, along with others. Back at the teepee, we had a wild peacock visit us from the mountains behind Rocky Point. These wild peacocks dwell in the woods from the House of Elvis in the Sunset Hills to Turtle Bay on the east side of Oahu. Next morning, a new swell had dawned. There was a high surf advisory. The Civil Defence were going to close the highway. The House of Elvis, above Waimea, had a view of the whole coast. Mark Foo's house was across the road from Waimea Bay, beside the Catholic Church. Kaina Point was first ridden by people like Flippy Hoffman and Jeff Johnson, father of muso surfer extraordinaire Jack Johnson. The tradition was carried on by true North Shore locals like Brock Little, the late Todd Chesser and Mark Foo. The next morning we got out the map and drove to the west side of the island in the old reliable Dodge Valiant with the slant 6 engine to find nice waves at Makaha. We checked Yokohama Bay, which breaks in the summer months of June, July and August. Excellent fishing can also be had here. The early Hawaiians, during hurricane season, sheltered in caves like this one, near Makaha. Back to the North Shore, the swell had died, and Kieran Perro was ripping rocky rights late in the afternoon.
That's a good one. I waited for a while for it. I was stoked because I got to come in. No, it was a good one because the first one that I got, it was sort of nearly overhead and went through a bottom turn and a couple of top turns. I was stoked. Got to the end of the second one and there was kind of no wall. I nearly ran out of rail to do the turn on and nearly lost it.
Waves were supreme.
Joel Fitzgerald, following in the footsteps of his father, Terry Fitzgerald, showing us how Sunset Point, on his backhand, can really be surfed. Connecting up with what is known as Val's Reef, a small right and left, in front of the main Sunset Peak. Joel Fitz, a goofy foot, backside at Waimea, like Derek Ho, Ronnie Burns, Sean Briley and Tom Carroll, took off on one of the biggest waves ridden at the bay in many years. A couple of days later, 2 big swells had arrived on the same morning. A north swell from the Aleutian Trench near Alaska, meeting a big west swell from Japan. Both swells travelling thousands of miles to clash at Sunset Beach. We were told in the Sunset car park the HIC Pipeline Pro had begun, so we started praying for the contestants as we headed down to Pipeline, or otherwise known by the locals as a Hukai Banzai. The North Shore, this big surf morning, was misty. Surfers were nervous at the sight of a closeout pipeline set.
Actually, I'd say they're pretty good. You know, the barrels aren't quite as long as pipe barrels can be, but you know, guys are getting some good rides, definitely.
Pipeline will kill you, with live coral showing head at low tide. The Hawaiian Buttons Kaluio Kalani and Amy Devine from Narrabeen, Australia surfed great. The local boy from Outer Island, Kai Henry, ripped the bag out of Big Pipe to eventually make the final. The next morning, the contestants were a little happier. The swell had dropped to half the size. Joel Fitzgerald and the other contestants were charging the overhead pipeline tubes. Master surfer and shaper, Dennis Pang. Kieran Perro from Byron. Sonny Garcia and the Brothers. Bernie Baker, the contest director.
Rapid, the contest went for 3 days, was a success, and early this morning there was some great footage, great waves, the swell dropped a bit. Who do you think might have won?
I can't tell you because they haven't made the announcement yet for the finals, and they're going to do it at the presentation over there. I'd like to tell you I know who it is, but it's a no-no.
I saw Johnny get a few waves at the back door, and yeah, 3 days. Some spectacular surfing, and what was your part in the contest?
Well, I'm the competition director, the Prince Marshal, and well, I think you know that Johnny Boy did real good, and he's a power surfer.
They're gonna see the results right now. Everybody surfed good, so you never can tell. We'll see.
John Gomes, like Bird Mahalona and other Hawaiians, grew up on the West Coast. John, months later, caught one of the biggest waves of his life at maxed out Waimea during the Quicksilver Big Wave International.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1998 defending champion, two-time champion, the HIC Pipeline Pro champion, Johnny Boy Gomes.
Good on you, Johnny.
The local Hawaiian Big J, a sunset legend, on hearing Yothu Yindi's song Treaty, danced like a corroboree. The late Rel Sun, who they named the Queen of Makaha, had a beautiful surfing style. She once stated the fiery Hawaiian sunsets were affected by the Big Island live volcanoes, where hot lava flows into the sea. The next afternoon, Sunset Beach, with a small northwest swell, was soft and easy to manage. The locals surfed till the sun went down, enjoying the smooth Arvo faces. A couple of days later, a west swell had arrived, and the longboarders had the Sunset Peak to themselves. Surfers like Wingnut, Matt Percy and Brett Young, all from Sydney, loved the Hawaiian lifestyle. Down at V-Land, Mike Latronic was showing us why he was a top pro in his day. Like others, he was known as Mr. Sunset. Mike Diffenderfer, who was known as Diff, was a master craftsman, shaping balsa and foam.
You know, I saw this board of yours. I think you shaped it for Rabbit Bartholomew. It was a 10-foot single fin with 5 stringers. Do you remember shaping a board for Rabbit like that?
Well, I've done about 70,000 surfboards, so I don't really remember which is which.
70,000?
At least. Started shaping in 1951.
Steve Culbreth, a local stonemason like others, is a serious sunset surfer. Bill Sickler on the inside on a Brewer single fin, and KB, Ken Bradshaw, on the outside on the 3-fin thruster, on what they call a small day. In the towns of Haleiwa, we have the Dodge Tradesman 200, one of the most popular swap meet and camping vans in the USA. Back at Sunset, the swell was again on the rise. A life was saved, thanks to the Sunset Rescue Team. Sunset Beach can have a 10-foot shore break. It's an extremely dangerous location with multiple rips and strong currents. Some of the locals, including Sam Knox, Alec Cook, known as Ace Cool, Matt Archbold, and Don Hoey Johnson, master surfer shaper, who was carving full roundhouse 360s more than 20 years ago. The next winter's morning, a high surf advisory was again issued with Waimea big and perfect.
And the helicopter you can hear above is possibly Warren Bolster. Somebody's hired it to do some shooting today. That's what they call the pinball section. This guy's had enough and he's coming in. The ride at Waimea actually is a very long one if you ride the wave to the beach. See, it's very dangerous in there on a big swell. Today's about 15 feet.
Both Nat Young and Titus Kinamaka, while surfing Waimea, had serious wipeouts, nearly ending up in the burial ground above the bay known as Hi'iau. Ross Clark Jones from Australia was the first non-Hawaiian to win the Quicksilver Eddie Would Go Big Wave International after 14 years of trying. During El Nino gigantic swells, Ross, with partner Tony Ray from Torquay, Australia, broke new ground with tow-in surfing at an outer reef called Outer Logs, a couple of miles off the coast of Waimea Bay. What surfers thought to be impossible with a jet ski was made possible. What surfers previously laughed at in cartoons like Captain Good Vibes, an aggro party animal pig who rode tidal waves, was not laughed at in these massive swells. What some watermen had dreamt about and visualised was finally conquered. Ross and Tony were joined by their mate Shane Horan. Together with locals such as Ken Bradshaw, Dan Moore, the Willis brothers, Sean Briley and Troy Alotis, were being towed into rogue waves, breaking into this very sunset at Outer Logs. On the same Wednesday, Laird Hamilton, Buzzy Kerbox, Derek Donor, Pete Cabrina, Dave Kalama and others were tow surfing the outer reef on Maui, known as Jaws Piahi. Around the same time, Mike Parsons, Brad Gerlach, Carlos Burley and company were tow surfing 100-foot face waves on an ocean reef miles off the coast of San Diego, known as the Bank of Cortez. The K2 challenge was over. Monster tubes were ridden like never before. Big Wednesday became the biggest Wednesday. From the house of Elvis in the Sunset Hills, with binoculars, surfers looked like ants on swells ranging between 60 to 80 feet. Golden diamonds of Pacific Ocean surfing had finally been discovered. We can't forget Mickey Dora, the cat, who was first filmed at sunset in Ride the Wild Surf. Barry Kanapuni, the sunset master, filmed in Morning of the Earth, and Reno Abalira in Rolling Home, who stated for sunset, "West is best." These surfers and many others over the years excelled at West Peak Sunset, Sunset Point, and Inside Sunset.
know, Santa. Jingle bells.
Across the desert, rode for 40 days. Had a real dumb horseman, we went 40 different ways. Might just die of hunger, maybe die of thirst. But if I don't see a woman soon, there's no chance I might burst. Well, I had a senorita, think of her a lot. Suffers emphysema, heavy breathing makes me hot. And I'm stuck out in the desert, how to shoot the goddamn horse. Well, I'm dying for a bed, I'm just a little bit off course. Well, here I go, and here I stay. Slid out of my saddle, fell on my guitar. I took pot shots at the horse and then I seen the evening star. I'm just a drifter on this plain. Put a candle in the window, come on, lead me to your flame. Well, here I go. Chasing after women's bound to bring a man undone. I said I'd like to thank you, preacher, like to wish you luck, but if you don't mind, I'll just keep right on looking for my horse. You haven't seen him, have you? Well, the moral of the story is accepting what you got, and don't go riding in the desert, man, 'cause it gets awful hot. Some men die of luxuries they could ill afford, others die in poverty, still praying to the Lord. Me, I'm just a drifter, stuck out on this plane. I put a candle in the window, come on, lead me to your plane. Oh, here I go, and here I stay. Oh, here I go. said something stupid. I slammed the door, I kicked the cat, I swept the baby stair, the whole affair under the mat. And Pinky Clown, I'm gonna turn around for just anyone. He's got a wicked grin made of porcelain, plays the way we were on his accordion. She can't speak above a whisper, and I can't think above a scream. I gotta tell you, little sister, what if the whole thing was a dream? There go the pixies off of my head. I can whistle Dixie for all she cares. Come on, hold your little eyes up. Try and hold your little eyes up. And centuries down on her knees looks more beautiful since her halo slipped down. She can't speak above a whisper, and I can't think above a scream. I gotta tell you, little sister, what if the whole thing was a dream? Yeah, the whole thing was a dream. Yeah, the whole thing was a dream.